Hello everybody, my name's TankRunner, and welcome to another episode of Drawing Roulettes and World Building. Recently, I've seen a pretty consistent growth for my channel. Hello new subscribers. I know I'm still very new and the channel is very small, but I'm still happy with the progress. I'm hoping to see the audience continue to grow as my skills improve and I put more time into the channel. I want to make a few videos to let you guys learn a little more about me and use the chance to improve a few things about the channel. First off, I could use a bit of a makeover, I think. But obviously I can't just make a video where you guys watch me draw myself over and over again. I mean, I could, but luckily for you, the state of the world has absolutely decimated my self-esteem. Instead, I'm going to show my journey from traditional paper and pencil art to digital, and I'll sprinkle in bits and pieces of my redesign as we go, so you guys can see some of the process of how I do things here. I think it'll be fun for you guys to see where I was right before and after getting a tablet, how I adjusted to that, and how it all led up to the show. Sound good? We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Alright, first off, we need an idea. My original avatar was just something simple, an image of me that wasn't too complicated to pull away from whatever it was I was talking about, and could easily be replicated, because you have to draw so many different versions and different positions and expressing different emotions. But I think we could get away with giving me a bit more detail, something to connect everything together a little better and shows more of a personality. I'm liking the idea of a tank commander to connect to the name of the channel, so I'm going to start working on a few options for that, and I'll see you guys back here in a few minutes. But in the meantime, let's travel back to 2017. I genuinely Googled what happened in 2017 to try and make a joke about whatever stupid shit we cared about back then, but there was literally no answer. The world is shit now, and it was shit then, the only real difference being that we don't get YouTube rewinds anymore, so, you know, net gain for us, I guess. Whoa. God. We're gonna start here because this is exactly 1 year before I got my first tablet. Me and my friends had gotten really into Pokemon that year, which is, I guess to say, more so than normal. We started playing some totally legit, don't look it up, OC do not steal Pokemon MMOs, which held our attention for a time, but we wanted something new. We were tired of playing the same games and regions over and over again. So I went about the task of making a Pokemon tabletop. Now, I know what you're thinking. TankRunner, please go on. You're the coolest. I cannot believe how attracted I am to you right now. To which I say, don't patronize me. This was leftovers from that era, a drawing of my team that I had built in the game on my journey to become a gym leader. I particularly like how adorable this Sandslash is. Here's a drawing of me for a Star Wars campaign I was going to play in before it fell through. At this time in my life, I had long realized that I needed to make the jump to digital. I had known it for about 6 years at this point, but I was afraid of not being able to survive the transition. So I had started doing this weird thing that made a lot of my work look like shit, which was I continued to draw with paper and pencil, but then scanned my work onto the computer. You'll see what I'm talking about in a few of the drawings we're about to go through. I can't really explain why I thought I could get away with this at the time. I obviously didn't have a great scanner because the images aren't great quality and the line work becomes very light and hard to see. So I then opened them in Photoshop and tried to darken the lines, but that made the quality of the image drop even more. This was art that my friend DePietro did for a campaign we played in together during our college years that we referred to exclusively as spaceships. Hey, you want to call up the boys and see if they want to play some spaceships? You know, like what toddlers do? They were doodled individually in a sketchbook and were then lost to time. A few years later, he found them and sent them to me. I loved them so much that I wanted to redraw them to clean them up just a little bit and then put them all together in one image. Alright, so this is Raph. He's a bugbear, but not just any bugbear. When I make D&D characters, a lot of them are given aspects of me. Sometimes it's something as small as my thoughts on something specific, other times they may share some physical features. This guy was meant to be me if I was a bugbear. So I did some photoshopping to build a framework for him before I started drawing, and this process was so funny that I can't in good conscience not show you it. Let's just jump to stage 1. Ooh, okay. All right, I get it, but let me explain myself. I took some pictures of me, cut out certain features, and just started sort of putting them on bugbears, which gave me some pretty hilarious results in the transition to what would end up being Raph. This is Yarick Elmore. silver-tongued royalty turned roguish musician, and leader of the mercenary group known as the Fire Brigade. The Fire Brigade was perfect for any job because their range of skills and abilities were so diverse. We have Zhou the Elder, Flit the Inventor, Baldirk the Battle Cleric, Shara the Druid, and Yarick the Gunslinger. This is Theo and Waffle. Not much to say here, they're adorable and I love them. I had plans to make a campaign where all the players were Beastmasters who would collect and train monsters. The idea being that the characters themselves weren't very special, but their animal companions were. It was going to be based very, very loosely off of a show called Made in Abyss. If you're like under the age of 25, don't look it up. You can't handle it. Please, God, trust me. A few years ago, Wizards of the Coast held a contest to make a new D&D monster for them. I can't remember all the details, but they sent out these monster kits to build a monster from, which is what I built on the right, and I submitted the drawing concept with it because I thought it would help clear up any confusion there might be on whatever the hell was going on over here. Alright, so we're about to move into the next stage of my artwork, so let's jump back to the avatar and see how it's coming along. It's not bad. I like where it's going, but it could use a few more tweaks before I start making all the variations. I'll adjust some colors, change a few parts of the design, and see where we're at. 2018, I finally got a drawing tablet, and this was the first thing I ever drew on it. It took me more hours than I'm comfortable admitting, and I remember literally breaking a sweat. What the have I done with my life? This was drawn the next day, and I'm still extremely happy with it. Would you guys be interested in an internet comic that looks like this? Let me know. A few months later, I started a podcast with a few of my friends called Myth and Murder. We recorded the whole show, but sadly, due to the world shutting off, editing stopped and we can't get the audio back from the editor. Hopefully in the future it gets finished. If you guys want to check it out, there's a lot of content there already. Maybe, if you guys want it, I could upload some of the episodes onto this channel. We'll see. This is the drawing I did for a flyer that was going to be made for the show. It has all the characters at their favorite diner with straight up just me as the waiter. 2019 was apparently the year of plans falling through and shit not getting done, because once again, here's another project I made with another person that never saw the light of day. These are the main characters from a comic I was working on with a good friend of mine. I started working on a few pages, but that didn't last very long. Now's not really the time to get into it, but he sort of fell off the face of the earth and just stopped talking to me. And I don't really feel comfortable continuing to work on it by myself. This is Cole, a Dragonborn ranger who had become a bit of a folk hero, traveling from town to town helping people. This was the first time I messed with extra details when it came to stuff I was drawing on the tablet. And I think it's the start of me understanding how to use the tablet. So let's stop there for a second and go back to the avatar. All right, so this is much better. I'm liking this a lot. You've probably noticed if you've seen my other videos that I have like 10 drawings that I jump between during videos. That's starting to feel a bit limited, so I'd like to add a few more and see how I feel. I'll let you guys know when I finish up. Okay, once again, it just kind of looks like every D&D character I play is just me. But I promise you, it's just because I play in a lot of campaigns that are, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we played ourselves? This drawing has a lot of layers, but I'm going to try and speed through it. I'm one of the leaders in a sword fighting unit in real life, which is part of a battlefield game called Dagger Here. It's a bunch of people getting together to do large-scale combat in medieval clothes and armor with full contact weaponry, usually made with fiberglass cores or something similar. Events usually involve delicious food, good stories, drinking, and a lot of fighting. The people in my unit wanted to make a D&D group where they played themselves from the unit in a world based off of the events that took place at DAG events. And this was the result of that. These two I'll cover together because I don't really think they're good, but I wanted to show that it was around this time that I started messing with new brushes and changing my style up just a little bit. I was trying to get to a place where my art looked real but not realistic, and stylized but not cartoony, if that makes sense. Which I guess for these two drawings just meant I was tired of my abusive relationship with shadows, because I just didn't do that. In the middle of trying new things, I went back to what felt comfortable and drew this. Another D&D group drawing, but this one has a funny story behind it. During quarantine, I was one of the few people lucky and unlucky enough to be locked up with other people, and those people happened to be my family. We were about halfway through at this point, but we didn't know that, so boredom and existential dread was starting to set in. We were all in a pretty bad place, so I decided to make it my personal goal that day to finally force my parents to play D&D with me. A thing that we had all joked about in the past, but it was never remotely a true statement. I don't think they would ever do it again, but they actually enjoyed themselves, which is good because now they can stop acting like I openly worship the devil every Tuesday night. This was another attempt at changing up my style, just trying out a few different things, mixing up my line work and trying new colors. This is Varric. I'm playing him in a campaign right now. On paper, he's a blood hunter, but in-game, he's a member of the Crimson Rite, which he would never admit or believe for even a second, but it's pretty much a cult. It's a cult. Full circle, 3 years later, I drew my Pokemon team again. Let me throw the two drawings up next to each other real quick, just so you can see the changes. We have some new favorites, but lifetime favorites are still there. I don't want to say that the second one is necessarily better, but I think it shows that I've become more confident in the medium at this point. And as a little extra something, I also drew my gym leader team, which is all medieval themed. I have town guards, some knights, an archer, a dragon, and a wizard. This is a project I was working on right at the end of the shutdown, which is gonna make me sound like just the most fickle bitch because it also never got finished. And it sounds like I'm making excuses for unfinished work, but genuinely, I'm a super passionate guy. When I decide to do something, it takes up my whole life until it's done, no matter how long it takes. It's a big problem that I have. It's really hard for me to slow my pace on things. I'm either doing it or I'm not. It's sometimes frustrating to me that other people aren't like that because it makes me feel like I'm the only one that cares about the project. In this situation, I wanted to make a video game, one with a massive roster of playable characters. I'm not going to show you everything that I have because I'm still hoping this project gets done in the future, but these are 8 of the over 100 characters that you can put into your 4-man party. The plan was to make a really solid demo and then take it to Kickstarter as proof of concept, and if it got funded, we would know that people thought it was a good idea, so we could realistically put more time and effort into making the rest of it. Long story short, I did most of the art and assets for the whole demo. Even a lot of the mechanical stuff was locked into, but I couldn't for the life of me find a coder. So I had no way to actually make the game. I had the pieces, but no way to put them together. I worked on the project for months and only found one person who was interested, but then life got really hectic for them when the world tried to turn back on. I tried doing it all myself, but that kind of work is not in my wheelhouse. I had no idea what I was doing, so I ended up just burning myself out. So if you, or someone you know, is into making video games and knows how to actually make them function, let me know. Alright, cool, so thanks for getting this far in the video. I'll now reward you with a meme. This is some fan art I threw together for the D&D campaign where I play Varric. The DM said I could get the extra 500 experience I needed to level if I drew a picture that summed up the whole last session. And this was the masterpiece that was created thereafter. And finally, this series of drawings was the last thing I did before starting the channel. This is Roland. He has the ability to transform into mythical creatures and legends from the stories passed down by his people. This is like a guy turning into the Mothman or the Jersey Devil. He's like a gritty version of Ben 10, basically. You can see a return of the monster I made for the D&D contest, along with 5 other weird designs I did. I wanted each of them to be unique and have individual strengths and weaknesses that Roland could use to his advantage depending on the situation. Everything I've drawn after this point was specifically for the channel, so if you want to see more of my stuff and haven't yet, go watch the rest of my roulettes and world building series. Okay, we're all caught up from about December 2017 until now. I think it would be fun to go back even further, but that's definitely a video for a different day. For now, let me show you what I've done for my upgraded avatar. Yeah. What do you guys think of the new duds? Pretty nice, huh? What? Well, what the fuck do you know? If you made it to this point in the video, I really can't thank you enough. Views are really important, but as of the last time I checked, it's way more important to have consistent watch time. So you taking the time out of your busy life to watch me ramble endlessly about stuff that I made up and doesn't fucking matter in the slightest, it really means a lot, and I appreciate it more than you could possibly know. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out. If you have any ideas for stuff I've done, or maybe you have some ideas for videos or drawings you'd like to see me do in the future, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. If you want to take a crack at drawing any of the prompts I've done, or you want to send me some artwork to flesh out my worlds, please send them to me over at my Twitter. I love to see what you guys make. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.